Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. Let's start by the acknowledgement of country. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians and their ancestors of the lands and waters across Australia. I pay my respect to elders past and present and acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders as the first people of Australia. I especially would like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of Eora Nation, on whose unceded land I'm working today here in at UTS. And I would like to extend my respect to the First Nation people who are with us today. And I also invite you all to use the chat function if you'd like to share the land that you are based on today with us. During the session today, we will cover an introduction to the Bachelor of Creative Intelligence and Innovation degree and its students. We will give you an overview of the Industry Innovation Project, and we will also talk about the partners' experiences, including key dates and requirements. We will give you guidance on crafting a competitive expression of interest for your challenge brief. And there will be an opportunity in the end to ask any questions that you might have about the subject, or writing your EOI or anything else relevant to this partnership and to this session. Before starting, I just would like to mention that we tend to often use acronyms, and three acronyms that we will be frequently using during this session will be first TD School. By TD School, we are referring to the Transdisciplinary School at UTS. BCII, which is a Bachelor degree of Creative Intelligence and Innovation. And IIP refers to the subject that we are inviting you to partner with us, and its Industry Innovation Project, which we refer to as IIP. A bit of introduction of the TD team that is here today with you. My name is Leila. I'm Leila Kanjani Najat. I'm the subject coordinator of IIP. I work closely with the students, my teaching team, and industry partnerships team. I was the subject coordinator in 2023 and had the privilege of working with 36 incredible industry partners that we have, some of whom I think have joined us today and are with us today as well. I really look forward to be welcoming you to the subject and working with you. I'm actually going to ask my colleagues to introduce themselves. Beth, may I ask you to introduce yourself, please?
Hi everyone, I'm Beth Wilson. I'm the Work Integrated Learning Partnerships Manager for TD School. And so I oversee all of the partner engagements within the award courses that we run, which includes the Bachelor of Creative Intelligence and Innovation. I'll pass you over to my colleague, Ursula.
Hi everyone, my name is Ursula. Lovely to meet you all, and thank you for joining us. I'm the Industry Partnerships Officer, so I have the privilege of meeting with a number of our industry or potential industry partners and connecting you with the TD School. I'm going to pass on to Helena.
Thank you very much, Ursula, and hello everyone. My name's Helena Robinson. I'm a senior lecturer in the TD School, and I'm also Deputy Course Director of the BCII, with my special focus being on the 4th year of the degree, where IIP actually happens. And I was also involved in teaching IIP this year, which was a fantastic experience working with Leila. And I've also had the benefit of continuing to work with that cohort throughout the rest of the year. And I'll describe to you the continuation of that journey a little bit in a few moments. But now we'll just move on to the next slide, where I'm going to tell you a little bit about BCII overall and how our degree works. So what is BCII and who are the students? So I know some of you have engaged with us before, so this won't be news to you. But for those who are coming as new potential industry partners. The BCII, Bachelor of Creative Intelligence and Innovation, is a combined degree. So students can only do this degree if they are also doing a core degree in UTS. So BCII is kind of an add-on to that, an accelerated degree. So we are combined with 25 degrees and 25 disciplines across the university of 7 faculties. So that really enables us and puts us in a unique position, because our students are very diverse in their disciplinary backgrounds and the viewpoints and skill sets and knowledge that they bring to the degree. They have those diverse ways of thinking, and that does produce some interesting tensions and also productive conflict when they work in teams. And that's really part of what we try and do, because it's the combination of those perspectives that really enables us to get that holistic understanding of complex challenges that we're constantly getting students to work on. So part of what we teach is, of course, not necessarily sort of content driven in the traditional sense of what students might be getting in their core degrees, but rather we teach a lot of process around some of the key topics that we get the students to build their knowledge and skills in. So this includes how you synthesize diverse perspectives, how you collaborate. We teach the students skills in complex problem solving and systems thinking. And basically everything we do is human-centered, involves stakeholders and industry partners. So we're always in touch with, where the rubber meets the road on that sort of real-world context. And in combination with that, we help students and support students to maintain and expand that kind of openness and creativity mindset. And again, to collaborate closely with each other. So learning through industry engagement, as I've just mentioned, is a major part of everything that we do across BCII. So that comes under the sort of heading of work integrated learning, or WIL, and there's another acronym for you. So in every subject that we have across the BCII, we have industry engagement and real world challenges. And that really gives students a chance to apply the creative integration of disciplines and practice collaboration, and also importantly, to validate their ideas against real world constraints. So in IIP, this is, and I'll explain the BCII structure and how the 4th year works, but in IIP, it's really the culmination of students' skills in all these different areas, and it gives them a chance to work on a complex issue from your industry context in a very one-on-one interaction with their project partner. And through that, students are gaining really authentic insights into industry settings, as well as having a chance to bring together and practice the skills that they've learned in BCII across their first 3 years. So Layla, if you can just change the slide for me. What you can see in front of you on this slide is just a quick breakdown of what the BCII looks like for students. So it is a 4-year program. What you can see in the first 3 rows are what years 1 to 3 look like for the students. The rectangles in sort of the grey-blue colour, they show that during the sessions, the students are doing subjects, a full-time load of subjects in their core degrees. And every summer and winter, when they're normally on holidays, they do still get some holidays, don't feel sorry for them, but they are doing their BCII summer and winter schools as well, which are run in intensive mode. So across the first 3 years of their core degree, by which time they usually complete their core degree, they're doing 6 subjects in the BCII. Then, once they hit the 4th year, they usually have their core degree out of the way, and it is just a full-time, very immersive, sort of culminating year of BCII. So they bring together what they've learned in the first 3 years, and they also have an expanded sort of work integrated learning component. In the first session, or the first half of 4th year, they start off with their internship, and then they have a choice of 2 intensive subjects. And then they jump straight into Industry Innovation Project, which is 12 credit points. So that's double the credit points of their regular subjects. It spans the whole of semester, and it's running kind of in semi-intensive mode. So they have approximately like 2 full days a week in the classroom. So that's really their first opportunity to knit together and join the dots in terms of what they've done across their degree and to put everything into practice. Then we have session 2, in which they again have some smaller intensive subjects before they wrap up with their final 12 credit point subject, which we're just finishing this week, the Creative Intelligence Capstone, which provides the bookend to their degree and allows them to kind of celebrate and experiment and do a passion project as well. So with that, I will hand over back to, is it Layla? Sorry, I've gotten confused. Yes. Back to explain the IIP in detail.
Thank you, Helena. As Helena mentioned, IIP is a fair reflection of BCII itself. And just let you know that BCII itself is an award-winning degree over the past few years. And Industry Innovation Project in particular won the International Green Gown Award in the category of Next Generation Learning and Skill last year in 2022, which is a very good recognition and example of how next generations, learning and skill can be brought to bear some of the key challenges we are facing. And we will also be showcasing some exemplary case studies we had this year in IIP in the upcoming Engagement Australia conference. And we highlight the immersive partnerships for the real-world innovation education through taking a transdisciplinary or TD approach. Just to go through IIP itself, as I said, my role is being the subject coordinator of IIP. And I will be working very closely with the students to make sure that they understand the subjects requirements and learning objectives, and will guide and manage them through the whole project. I won't be alone doing this. I have a team of experienced tutors with me who will be mentoring students and guiding them through their project. So students have their tutors helping them on the teaching side and making sure that they make progress on their projects. And they will be having also you as the project lead to provide them with the resources and help them with the progression of their project. IIP itself, it's a 12-week subject running next year, starting from 11th of March to the beginning of June. The presentations will be the first week of June, 3rd and 4th of June, actually. And the key elements of this subject, as I said, it's reflected in BCII degree. And the essence of that is to draw on the idea of learning through industry engagement, as Helena mentioned, that will experience or work integrated learning experience is an integral part of this subject. By working on a real world challenge, exposing students to the idea of perceiving how things works in the real world and what are some possible complexities that are attached to it. Teams will include 5 to 7 students from diverse disciplinary backgrounds, from business to science, art, communication, design, and so on. And this will really create a unique situation for students to work in a team where members do not necessarily think in the same way, helping them to gain better understanding of the problem space itself and combining the strengths of those knowledge together. Teams will draw on different methods, perspectives that they've learned in the first 3 years of BCII and also in their core disciplinary background as well, and applying concepts such as reframing, co-design, reimagining, system thinking, and also teamwork skills as well. This actually going to be quite challenging for students, but as fourth year students, they have learned to translate and synthesize knowledge across different disciplines and have developed the ability to find a way to a way forward to work together and to rely on and benefit from the strength each member has to offer in their team. And of course, the teaching team is there to mentor them and monitor this as well. Just give you a bit of background in terms of what are different steps and phases that we have in Industry Innovation Project. But before that, I want to just mention that before starting the subject in January and in February, we will present your challenge brief to students to vote. And they vote and they choose their top preferences. Then we will use their preferences to form multidisciplinary teams. So when the subject starts in March, we already have all of the teams in place and confirmed with you. Let's have a look at the IRP journey itself. There are 4 major phases. We'll start by introducing and taking on board the project you design and the challenge brief that you put forward as a challenge brief for these students. This led students to really dive into the problem space, which usually takes around 2 weeks. And the expectation here is that students do their research, which also include talking to you and also connecting to other people. And here your role is really important to introduce them to other people. All of these, the purpose is to help students to take on board the challenge space and better understand it from multiple perspectives. In week 3 and 4, students will start unpacking the complexity of the challenge using system thinking skills, and they may start reimagining and reframing the challenge to understand it from different perspectives. And pivoting and pathway setting is a key phase here. It's almost the midpoint of the whole project process. Your team will come to you for a check-in to explain their analysis and idea, and also explain the direction that they intend to take and what they have to offer to you and to the challenge space that you have. This is a very important step. There needs to be an agreement between you as the project lead and the industry partner and the team on how you are going to work together moving forward. After the check-in point or check-in with you, teams will start developing their ideas and pathway that you agreed upon together. And although they will be exploring different lenses for testing and refining their ideas and go through the proof of concept and what they may be able to produce for you and so on. And they will continue on this till the last 2 weeks. And in the last 2 weeks, teams will prepare to report and present. Please note that students will be having a semester break very close to the midpoint check-in or the reframing check-in, which is the mid-semester, and there will be no classes, but they may decide to work with you on the project and contact you. So when it comes to the Industry Innovation Project, building relationship is really crucial as well, because this subject is all about partnership and mutual learning. It's not about internship. So even though that we acknowledge that this is a very open space for you to reimagine with your student, with your team, as you come together as well. But as you may have noticed, we are calling this partnership as well, and we reiterating that. And this subject is not about, internship where students are expected to follow the instructor. So the IIP or Industry Innovation Project subject, in this subject, you partner with your team to collaboratively work on your challenge space. And of course, we know that you have the expertise, you are expert in your field, and you are expert in the challenge brief that you have. But at the same time, we would like you to recognize that these students are also equipped with some, different methods and creative way of thinking, which brings the fresh insight and different lens and way of thinking into the project, which might be new to you. So being open to creativity, being open to be challenged is really crucial in this subject and in this partnership. So if you have a very preconceived or specific type of solution in your mind, including a specific time frame or product or result, then we would suggest you to take the internship program, as it might be more suitable for a specific type of things that you have in your mind. But for this specific subject, I'm just reiterating that it's all about having an open solution based space for students to explore. It's about creativity and innovation of the idea and results that they may come up with, and some of them may even surprise you with the result that they come up with. We will definitely have another information session next year when we get closer to the subject, to the start of the subject, and we will explain this building relationship again there, and we will explain a bit more in details, but I'm happy to explain this further in the end if you have any questions. Now I am going to pass it to our partnerships team, to Ursula, to explain the value of being our partner.
Hi, everyone. So I actually have quite a bit of experience with industry partnerships in many ways. I was a student, so I've graduated from the Bachelor of Creative Intelligence and Innovation originally. I then, straight after university, went and worked in consulting at PwC. And so when I was working there, I was very lucky to have 2 different cohorts come through. And then more recently, I've now just started this role, and I have the privilege of working with industry partners and connecting them back to TD School. So for me, what I really noticed, and some of the biggest benefits that I felt when I was an industry partner, was the energy that our whole team got with working with these students. They brought in these new ways of solving problems and addressing problems. And of course, in consulting, a huge part of your role is about solving problems, but the way that the students addressed it and the way that they approached it changed the way that we started to look at our own problems. And it also gave us new insights and fresh ideas on collaboration. And we learned a lot about how they work together. So it was a really strong sense of mutual learning. It wasn't that we were teaching them something. It wasn't that they were teaching us something. It was that we were collaborating together on this project, and they were sharing insights back and vice versa. Another big benefit that a lot of partners experience is the access to talent pipeline. So it's really common for BCII students to actually end up working for IIP partners after the project. Some of them end up joining full-time as graduates, and others, I know in my cohort at least, there was one group were then employed for the remainder of their university degree as casuals, so that they could implement the idea that they'd come up with. So that's another big benefit of it. I'll get you to move to the next slide for me, Leila, please. So I think we might actually have Daniel on the call. Daniel, I apologize for throwing you under the bus with this quote, but I also just wanted to share this quote we have from you, Daniel. So Cricket New South Wales partnered in autumn this year with a group from IIP, and we received this quote back from Daniel, which said, "Off the back of this experience, I've only got good things to say. We've ended up with tangible outcomes we're hoping to pilot across the organisation." I'll get to the next slide, Leila, please. Okay, so I also want to talk about the commitment. So over the subject ends up totaling about 13 weeks. So over that period, the time commitment is looking like about a minimum of 30 hours. There's the main sort of people that will be involved is a project lead. So the project lead is responsible for leading the project. They will meet with the student team once a week, and they will also attend a number of sessions and key dates, which I'll go through in the next slide as well. The other main contact that we need is an executive sponsor. So an executive sponsor is someone who has decision-making ability within within the organization. So usually that tends to be someone a little bit more senior. The project lead and the executive sponsor can be the same person if needed, but usually they're different people. It often works better if they're different as well. But having an executive sponsor allows us to just support the strategic input and impact of the outcomes as well. I'll move to the next slide, please, Layla. So these are the key dates that I mentioned before. So on this 7th of March, there's a partner briefing. So this is your opportunity to meet with the tutors and meet fellow partners. That one will be conducted online. There's then a week after that, we've got the welcome event. So this will be in person. You'll come into the on campus and you'll get to meet with your student team in person. Then there's the reframe check-in. So heading towards the middle of the process, we have what's called a reframe check-in. So at the start, the students will really dive into research and they'll delve into, we know the iceberg problems are like icebergs, and what we often think is the problem's the tip of it. So the job of the students is they will often dive into research to try and understand what the problem actually is underneath. And they will pitch back to your reframe of what you have already given to them based off the research they have done. So you'll work with the student team to find a time that suits within that period, the 22nd to the 24th of April, and the format as well. So it can be online. We would prefer, if possible, for it to be in person, but that is something that you will decide with the student team. Following that, we have final presentations. These are done online, and this is the student's assessment as well. So the tutors will be there at the final presentation. That's an opportunity for the team who have worked directly with the students to attend and for the tutors to attend. If you want this, I know in my case, the industry partner we were working for then wanted us to pitch it back to a group of, I think it was 100 or so people. That can be done if the students are willing to do it, but it can't be done in that session. So that, because it's their assessment, it's important that it's just that the people have been working on the team directly. And then, yeah, throughout the process, it's just about meeting with the student team once a week. Next slide. I'll hand over to Beth to take you through this next section.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ursula. So hopefully after this information session, you're going to be quite excited about the opportunity of partnering with the BCII students, and you'll have talked to you'll go back and talk to your colleagues about possible challenge options that you might have within your organisation. So then the next step that you have to complete if you want to participate is to submit an expression of interest, or the EOI. So we have a form that's set up for this, and it gathers information about your organisation, the challenge that you want to tackle, and why you want to partner with the BCII students. We're running the EOI across 2 rounds. So if you submit in the first round, so we're currently open for expressions of interest, and the first round will close off on the 4th of December. If you submit in this first round, we can offer you support and feedback with your submission. So we really recommend this for anyone that's new to IIP, or anyone who wants some guidance or some workshopping with their challenge space. If you submit it early, then we can help you with that. The second round will run after that and run until the 19th of January. And I'd only really suggest this for partners who are returning to IIP. So people that have already engaged in the subject, are familiar with the subject and the students and how it works. I guess why this is important is, as Layla has already highlighted, the BCII students vote for the projects that they want to work on. So I guess to really highlight, it's actually the students that ultimately decide which projects proceed. So they're the main audience for your EOI form. So the information that you submit in the EOI, that gets given to the students. They vote on which projects they want to decide on, they want to work on, and those are the projects that proceed into the subject. And it can be quite competitive. Not all projects will be taken up, and not all projects will proceed through into IIP. If you can go to the next slide, Layla. So I'm going to focus a little bit now on what's needed for your expression of interest and some tips to help you appeal to the student audience, knowing that it can be quite competitive. So I think the most important thing probably is to outline that we really are looking for an organizational challenge that is complex. So I guess characteristics of a complex challenge are that there can be multiple ways for the challenge to be undertaken. There's a level of uncertainty in the challenge, and that the solution space is open. It's really important that IIP partners are open to their challenge being reframed and are looking for out-of-the-box responses and interventions. We're not looking for challenges where the output has already been determined. If you already know that you want a website, you want an app, you want a media campaign, that's not going to work in the IIP scenario. It has to be open for the students to discover that solution space. As part of your EOI, you're asked why the challenge is important to you now. This is a really great opportunity to highlight, additional complexities and possibilities. Is the challenge linked to an organizational strategic goal? Are there sector-wide targets that you're trying to meet, maybe around sustainability? Are there dependencies that on this project or challenge within your organization? How is it connected to ongoing organizational priorities? That can be quite interesting to the students, and also it's important to know why this is the moment to tackle this challenge. The students tackling your challenge, as has already been mentioned, are going to be working in multidisciplinary teams. So you need to be thinking about how the challenge is going to appeal to students from across disciplines. It can't be too technically specific. Students have got to be able to see how they might meaningfully contribute to the work. I guess also another thing to identify in the EOI is going to be, how are you going to support the partnership with the students? Who are the stakeholders that you can introduce them to? Who are, what research or data already exists that you can share with them? What maybe hasn't already been done? Being able to kind of highlight and be aware of what already exists in the space is really important. And I'd also encourage you to consider, is there enough support for the project within your organisation or team to enable possible implementation of the students' responses to the challenge? A project is always going to be more appealing to the student voters if there's a real possibility that their work might actually get implemented. One final tip, which we've tried to do today, is to steer clear of acronyms or too technical terms. Really recommend trying to not use language that might not be instantly clear to the students. If I can go to the next slide, please, Layla. So as part of the EOI form, we will be asking for your position on intellectual property and confidentiality within the project. We need this information to be clear for the students up front when they vote. So if you're unsure of your organisation's policy around this, please do seek internal advice before submitting your expression of interest. Wherever possible, we do encourage partners to opt to allow students to retain their IP, as this is in line with UTS's policy on intellectual property. However, where organisations are looking to acquire students' IP, there must be an agreement in place. So any agreement paperwork, whether it's about IP or confidentiality, it needs to be drawn up by the partner, and it needs to be ready before the subject starts. We obviously don't expect you to draw it up before you've been confirmed that you're proceeding, but there will be a quite tight time window to get that paperwork set up. And I guess it's also, important to consider this is a learning engagement. So any agreement that gets put into place, ideally it needs to be simple so that the students can understand it and are able to sign it quickly. Potentially your organisation might have paperwork that you can reuse from an internship experience, and you can adapt it for the industry innovation project. All IP and confidentiality agreements are direct between students and partners. UTS are not party to this paperwork. For partners who are who do successfully proceed through the voting and join us in the IIP subject, there will be an agreement letter that we will ask you to sign, and that agreement is direct with UTS, and it outlines the partner commitment. If anyone needs to see this paperwork early, potentially things take a long time to move through your legal department, please reach out to me. I'm happy to share you a draft version early to review. So both Ursula and I are available to support partners looking to engage in the industry innovation project. So I'd invite you, if you're keen to kind of workshop some challenge ideas, if you have further questions, if you want to talk quite specifically, please reach out to us. We're happy to book in a time to meet with you or answer questions you might have over email. I'll pass on to Helena now.
Thanks, Beth. So I know we've just kind of dumped a lot of information on you at once, and especially for those who haven't been involved before, it may sound like a lot, and you may be wondering, wow, you know, complex problems and the challenge briefs, and has to be all open, and the students, you know, you don't know where the students are going to end up, and you might be wondering, well, what kind of work do the students end up doing? So this is a great opportunity for us to extend an invitation for you to attend our BCII Creative Intelligence Capstone Showcase. So that's the 12 credit point subject that's just finishing up now, where the final subject that students do in their 4th year. The showcase is coming up on the 9th of November, so that's next week. And there'll be a morning and afternoon session. And if you want to attend, it is an absolutely wonderful opportunity to see how passionate our students are about projects and their real world impact, the sort of great variety of work that they do, and how they bring together their disciplinary knowledge and skills in really creative ways. So please come. We've got the QR code there. You can scan that and it will take you to a registration page. And you can then sign up there, and we'll send you all the information. So yeah, please do come along. It'll also give you a chance to see the kind of space that the students work in next year, which you would also be a part of if you join up with IIP in 2024. Over to you, Layla.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone, for explaining, and thank you so much, everyone, for being patient while we are giving you all of these information. Just reiterate that if you have any question, please get in touch with the industry partnerships team here in TD School using this email, and key resources will be shared with you. And just another reminder that the expression of interest, the first round of expression of interest will be closed on 4th of December. And if you would like to receive feedback on your EOI, please submit it by the time, so we can take the time and share the feedback with you for revisiting your EOI. We are now going to turn off the recording, and it's time for Q&A. And we'll be